Hi everyone and welcome to episode 4 of the Beta Battle at Man United. Myself versus Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to see who can get the most out of the Man United squad for the 2019-2020 season. He does it in reality, I do it in Football Manager 20, and let's see how we're getting on. So in terms of recent performances, we haven't been at our best. We had a 2-0 loss against West Ham, which was a bit of a surprise. Unfortunately, both of our number one goalkeepers were injured. We had to put a youngster in at that point just because that's who we could register. And it just seemed to completely unsettle the confidence levels of the defensive area of our side particularly, and we didn't play very well at all. We then went into Man City in the Premier League away from home, having had that loss at West Ham, so a little bit of down to confidence, bit of a lack of form going into that match. We'd already lost to Man City, of course, in a very tight game in the last couple of minutes of that particular match in the Carabao Cup. So confidence wasn't particularly high, and whilst it was a close match, we did lose 2-1 in the end. Disappointing, but it was against Man City, who at this point in our save are probably a lot better than my Man United squad is. So in the end, an understandable result, I would suggest, but then we got straight back on the horse, played another game against Copenhagen in the Euro Cup qualifying group, the Group A, and we absolutely thumped them, 5-1. Very good performance. Everybody was on top form, played very, very nicely. If we go in and have a look, you'll see that the absolute star of the show has been Jarrod Bowen in the Euro Cup. And he got 4 goals in that particular match. If we go and have a look at how he's doing, I think this is a really good find for a 22-year-old Englishman. We paid 20-something million for him. I understand that maybe that looked a little bit high, but I think this is a really good young player to have in and around your squad. If you're looking for English talent, why not look at Jarrod Bowen? Starts at Hull in the FM20, and well worth a look if you can prize him out there out of Hull, I would suggest. So yeah, that's how we've been doing. As I say, a bit of a mixed bag, but today is another opportunity against a real arch rival to see if we can up our game a little bit and prove a hard opposition for Liverpool. In terms of where they sit in the league, they sit equal with us on points after 12 games played each. You can see that they're above us, having a far greater goal difference. So for us to get above them and stay above them, we're going to have to take some points off of them, and that's what we're intending to do today. You can see Tottenham at the top, Arsenal, Man City, Leicester make up the rest of the top 6. So it's Chelsea that have missed out in terms of the recognisable big 6, as it were, at the moment. They're down in 8th. But there's, an awful lot of games still left to play after 12-13 games. So before we go any further into this episode, I've been given a request that somebody wanted to have a look at Christopher Ayers from Celtic, the central defender, his player traits. So here's his attributes, just so you can see what they're like. He's a decent option in terms of central defence. Could possibly do with a little higher physicals here and there, but not too bad. But his player traits are dictates tempo, tries to play way out of trouble, avoids using weaker foot, likes ball played into his feet, brings ball out of defence. Those are his player traits. There's Christopher Ayer from Celtic. I hope that helps. So if we go and have a look at our team for today, we're going to be playing basically our strongest side possible, our first choice 11, even though Luke Shaw's down a little bit in conditioning and Jesse Lingard's just coming back from a fitness issue, so his match sharpness isn't great. So possibly those two players might have to come off later in the game. You can see that De Gea is just about coming back from his injury that he picked up just a couple of weeks out. He was out for. In terms of injuries for the rest of the squad, we've got Muru, who picked up a bit of a knock and is out for just a couple of days, and then we've got the slightly injury prone Phil Jones, who's now out for anything between 3 and 6 weeks. So that just disrupts our defensive rotation a little bit. Having said all of that, today's team is De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka at right back, Luke Shaw at left back, Lindelof and Maguire in central defence, Pereira, McTominay, Pogba in midfield, Lingard on the right, Rashford on the left, Dembele up top, and we've got Bailly, Dalot, Chowdhury, Cook, Bowen, James and Martial on the bench. So let's get into this arch rival nemesis game against Liverpool and see what happens. So because of the opponents and because of what this match means to the fans, I've suggested to the players, go out there and give these fans their money's worth. And that's motivated quite a lot and given a little bit of confidence. So let's go into kickoff. So we're at home at Old Trafford, which always helps surely to get a better performance, you would imagine, even against some of the really harder opponents. So Liverpool have to really cope with the fact that they're away from home in a bit of a lion's den, let's hope. This is where the fans make a 12-man. So you can see in terms of early match stats, we've had a couple of attempts at goal already, which is positive. We're getting a lot more possession than they are, which is also really positive. Great interception there by Lingard, got a foot in and comes away with the ball, runs up to the halfway line, puts it through to Rashford on the left-hand side, cutting in. Good block defensively, though, and the ball is cleared. But really good sweeping movement from my Man United side. Wan-Bissaka down the right-hand side. Unfortunately, Robertson comes in with a really good challenge, and Origi picks up the ball on the halfway line, cuts it inside to Henderson. We keep our shape. Can the Luke Shaw loses his man Salah though, and Salah gets a shot away, but it goes wide. Our fullbacks are really causing a few problems, I would suggest, so far. I'm not overly happy with how they're set up, but I'm struggling to really change that in any meaningful way. They seem to lose their players quite readily. There's an unfortunate header from Luke Shaw back into the Liverpool midfield, and they keep the ball and move it nicely left to Robertson, who can attempt to attack his fullback, but it didn't. Lingard got the foot in, I think it was, and McTominay, but the clearance isn't good enough. Eventually Dembele picks up the loose ball and passes it out to Shaw, who gets an opportunity to run at his fullback, goes back to Pogba, keeps possession. We go right the way back to Maguire, and there's a mistake by Maguire hitting it against a Liverpool player, and Firmino picks up the loose ball again. Loose on the passing, and I'm not quite sure what we do to change that, really. That's personal error. Firmino with a cheeky chip over the top of De Gea, but it wasn't quite enough, and De Gea plucks it out there. But that was very, very cheeky by Firmino. And you can see that we do struggle occasionally to keep possession, and we give the ball away very, very needlessly a lot. But down the left-hand side, Shaw with a cross. The header comes away from Liverpool, though, and Fabinho down this left-hand side picks up the ball, cuts it back into Robertson. Long sweeping ball wide right to Salah, who heads it forward, but Shaw is going to pick up the loose ball back to the goalkeeper, who blasts it out wide right, and Wan-Bissaka just keeps the ball in, and we maintain possession up to Lingard on the right-hand side. Wan-Bissaka goes on the overlap, cuts inside, though, to McTominay. There's the ball to Wan-Bissaka on the overlap, and a decent effort by Wan-Bissaka, but unfortunately just a little bit wayward. The goalkeeper got hands on the ball and pokes it over the top for a corner kick. Corner comes in from Pereira. Dembele attempts to get the ball but doesn't manage it. McTominay picks up the loose ball and we maintain possession again down the left hand side, but the highlight then vanishes and we go up to half time and it's 0-0. I can say that we're having the better of the game, I would suggest, but one or two little errors have put hearts in mouths a little bit, especially that Maguire attempted clearance that rebounded and fell into the laps of Liverpool for another opportunity at our goal. So I think we'll go with what Mike Phelan says here, and we should challenge the team to go and prove a point. So let's just stick with that. It's got a few players motivated and gaining in confidence. Everybody's doing okay other than Luke Shaw, which is what I kind of thought would happen. We're probably going to have to bring Dalot on to replace him in probably 10 to 15 minutes. Try and get the most out of him I can, though, before we do that. McTominay keeps control of the ball in midfield onto Pogba, back to McTominay, but there's a loose ball again. And have they been gifted a goal? They've been gifted a goal by our central midfielder McTominay, loosely giving the ball away, and it happens time and time again. For decent players, they are shockingly bad at times at just loose passing, and this is the one here. Look, intercepted by Origi. Why did he go backwards at that point into Firmino? And he has a simple tap into the against De Gea, who couldn't really do much about it. And we find ourselves 1-0 down, and it was through our own mistake, which is really disappointing. De Gea with the goal kick goes long to the halfway line on Lingard, who controls it, but then Robertson gets in the loose ball, sweeps it out again to Origi, and he puts it slightly narrow wide. But you can see their counter-attacking, or whatever it is that you want to call it, is very swift. And at this point, there's a couple of things that we need to address. So the first being that Luke Shaw is now in the 60s on his conditioning, so he's going to have to come off for Dalot. But look at some of these ratings. There's a 6.3 for Marcus Rashford, so he's coming out immediately. I am actually going to put Martial out there this time rather than Dan James. And with what else have we got? I'm going to leave the rest there. I mean, we've got Harry Maguire, who's furious, and he should be. But I'm going to leave the rest as it is and make another substitution in maybe 10 to 15 minutes in terms of game time. Here we go down the right-hand side with Wan-Bissaka on the overlap. Can he get an opportunity to cross it in? He finds Pogba on the edge of the box, deflected shot, and eventually hits the post, and they put it out for a corner. And the corner hopefully will provide us an opportunity to get an effort on goal. Pereira into the centre of the penalty box, but the goalkeeper saves it and goes out again for another corner. Andrea Pereira again with the corner into the 6-yard box this time, but it's partially cleared to McTominay. Back into Pereira, cross comes in, Dembele, was that off the woodwork? I think it possibly was, but it was offside anyway. And we're moving up to the 70th minute, so we're going to check out another substitution to make in just a moment after this particular highlight. Long ball from the goalkeeper, loose header again from us in clearing it. McTominay tries to nick the ball in but doesn't quite manage it. Maguire then does, but then puts a very wayward ball into no man's land, and Liverpool come back at us again with our poor passing and poor maintaining of possession at this point. And it's the real problem. Liverpool sweep it out left to Robertson, who gets an opportunity to put the cross in. The ball is partially cleared, but then put straight back in our own box again by one of our players, and Liverpool have another opportunity that they didn't quite take. We are absolutely trying to scupper ourselves in this particular match. It's ridiculous how bad some of our passing has been and some of our decision making. Jesse Lingard is looking a little bit below par, so we're going to bring in our most recent Euro Cup hero, Jared Bowen, to see if he can continue his good form for the last 15-20 minutes of the game. Hopefully he can unlock something that we haven't been able to do so far. But overall, I'm just very, very frustrated with the amount of poor decision making that we've made. And is that Jared Bowen? I don't think it was. Who was it? Martial and Dembele on the back post. It was Dembele, I think. But I thought almost for a second it was Bowen, but I think he might have. Anyway, yeah, doesn't matter. It was it was Dembele. Cross comes in, Martial with the header on, Dembele with the strike, and we go 1-1 after 80 minutes, and that's looking a little bit better. Can we now move forward in the game and try and find a winner rather than losing one in the last couple of minutes, which we've done recently against the likes of Man City? So we have Wan-Bissaka down the right hand side into Bowen, onto Andrea Pereira into the penalty box, takes a long shot, doesn't quite get past the goalkeeper. Second shot comes in and Liverpool get it cleared. We have a throw in down our left hand side, but another loose header, and fortunately we managed to get the ball clear, and Dembele's made something of it, but that was an awful moment in the defensive area, wasn't it? But Dembele probably should have held on to the ball, held it up a bit and waited for some support, but took a very early long shot and it didn't quite work out. And it looks like there's the final whistle, and we got a 1-1 draw against Liverpool, which isn't terrible. As I said before the game, you know, we're even with them in the table at the moment, so it's not a terrible result by any stretch. But I am disappointed by the way that we played. I'm going to tell the team that and fire them up. There was too many loose balls, too many poor decisions, and we just never quite looked like we were in control of that game particularly. And it was a home game, so we should have been better than we were. We rescue a late draw. Southampton receive $1 million for the Shaw transfer, one of the payments we had to make for that. Fine, whatever. Man United enjoying life with the United City FM. Well, I'm enjoying life mostly. It's just a few moments in that last game didn't quite work out. So that enables us to get another point on the board in the Premier League, which is positive. What we're going to do for the next episode, we're going to come back and we are going to play Tottenham, who are top of the league, I think, if we go and have a look. The next game for us will be Tottenham Hotspur, and see if we can potentially keep pace with the couple of teams around us in these 4 European Champions League spots, which is where I desperately want to finish this season. But yeah, Tottenham's going to provide another test. Between times, we've got a couple of winnable matches, I would suggest. If we... excuse me, bad mouse management then. If we go and have a look, we've got Wolves, Newcastle, Wolfsburger in the Euro Cup, so a couple of winnable games in there, I would hope. And so I'll bring you back for the Tottenham game. So until then, if you're enjoying the series, why not subscribe to the channel, keep up to date with the vids. If you enjoyed this particular episode, then why not click a like on it for me, help me get seen by other people, which is really important to the growth of my channel. If you're playing Football Manager 20 yourself, let me know how you're getting on in the comments below. But until next time, take care of yourselves, I will see you soon, and bye for now.